Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're going to be looking at this large main slate on Tuesday night for DraftKings. Things pretty much go hand in hand with FanDuel, aside from some just individual player salaries. But for the most part, pitchers in good spots, it's going to be the same throughout. As always, thumbs up, subscribe, hit that comment, drop that comment down below. It really does help us out at providing all the free content. Make sure you're paying attention to the weather and COVID-related news as well. So we'll just dive right in here. We'll kind of highlight some of the important plays that you should be paying attention to. We're not going to go through every single pitcher or every single bat just because it would just be way too long of a video. But let's just begin. So Walker Buehler right up at the top, 10.5K. He's the top pitcher on the slate. I think, in my opinion, he's been just destroying teams. He's been doing amazing pitching, incredibly well. I can go on and on. Got somewhat tough matchup going up against Atlanta, but still, I don't think he's going to have any issue, putting up 25 or more DK points, hitting that salary value that we want. So Buehler is my number one option, and he's probably going to be right there in the cash field for me. McCullers and Woodruff right behind him. Well, McCullers right behind him. Woodruff, he's got a pretty decent discount. Woodruff's kind of been struggling a little bit recently, though. His form just isn't what it was. He had a great start last time out, but you can kind of see he's up and down. He's not the pitcher that he was like right at the start of the season. But still, 10 Ks against Cincinnati, it's nothing to, ignore. He's going up against San Francisco. San Francisco can strike out quite a bit, regardless of them being a very great offense. Pitchers Park, I think the weather tonight is going to be pretty cool, so I think it's going to be a nice hitting environment or a nice pitching environment. So he's got a lot of things going for him. If you land on him here, no issues at all. I still think he's a great, solid play at 9.4K. McCullers, I like McCullers more than Woodruff, less than Buehler. 10.1K going up against Seattle. Great matchup. Morin, don't really have any interest in going up against the Dodgers bats. Ryu, he's boom or bust. He's got a favorable matchup going against Baltimore. If you think he's going to have one of his boom games, awesome. Load him up. He's going to be great. But the guy who I want right above him is actually Giolito, who I've put over here. Buehler Giolito is probably going to be my favorite two pitchers. Especially in cash, those are the two pitchers I'm pretty much going to want to jam in. Giolito, 8.8K going up against Pittsburgh. He's just far too cheap. He has kind of had the roller coaster season as well, but he's kind of finding his form as of late. The strikeouts have finally come back. He's limiting the damage. He's limiting the hard contact, and he's been doing it against really great offenses. Toronto, Tampa Bay, New York. So now he's going up against Pittsburgh, who is just in another tier of offense. And he's got that salary discount compared to the top guys. So Giolito, probably my second favorite pitcher in terms of point per dollar on the slate. Going on down, Kikuchi, we kind of were on him earlier on the season. He's kind of fallen off the rails. So I think Houston could be a nice leverage check. Kikuchi, I could see getting some ownership just because of how well he has done on the season as a whole. But recently, I don't have too much interest in him. Gomber, he's a fine play. Anybody really going up against Texas is a fine play. He's had his struggles recently. I feel like a lot of the pitchers on the slate have had struggles recently. He's a fine play, but still, like I said, going up against Texas, you can pretty much go with anybody. Snell, the ultimate cream of the crop at boom or bust. Going up against Arizona, his last time out, I think, 122 pitches. But you can see he has been pitching very well. They clearly want him to go very deep into games. I mean, if you're pitching 122 against the Dodgers, they want you to go deep into games. So going up against Arizona, it's possible that he could have another 100, 110 pitch game. Or what we could also see is the flip side. Snell really struggles because 122 pitches is no joke. And pitchers, when we see them pitch that much, they tend to struggle the next time out. So there's that. And, his home road splits, away games, he just really struggles. An ERA over 7 in 13 away starts. He's matched Arizona though in his 3 starts this season. So he's kind of got the numbers that show like he is ready to just absolutely blow up and do terrible, but he also has the numbers that'll say, and the spot to say he's going to do really well. So Snell, I think, is a total flip a coin. You're not really going to get the middle with him. Gallon, I could see him getting some ownership going up against San Diego. I'm not too on him though. He'll be in my player pool, but I'm not going to have too much ownership in him. Scrolling on down, Minor, I think he is a decent play at 7K. He's allowing quite a few earned runs, I guess, in his home runs, but still, initial look, Minor, he's going to go deep into games. He's going to get you a decent floor. Going up against Cleveland, I've mentioned it many times before. Jose Ramirez, Framil Reyes. Those are like your 2 guys. But if one of them or both of them have just like it's baseball, they can easily go over 4, or even if they go 1 for 4. The lineup doesn't really scare me too much. So if you do land here in this range, Minor, I think is a fine spot. Irvin, same thing going up against Detroit. I think he's in a fine spot. I don't have too much interest in the value plays on pitcher today. I'm pretty much going to be sticking near the top. Like I said, it's probably going to be Bueller. It's going to be Giolito. It's going to be McCullers. It's going to be Goldberg. It's going to be Snell. Going to be Ryu. Kind of staying up there. So if you do land down here, Minor, he's fine. Irvin going up against Detroit. Irvin Cabrera. Oh, this Mets Miami game, 7 innings. So, Irvin. Edward Cabrera. I think he's a fine play. 6.4K. He's not going to burn you or anything. Everybody else, just not really too much interest in. So I'm really kind of sticking near the top on this slate. I'm not too thrilled with the pitching in the bottom area, but if you land there, that's fine. Let's turn towards the bats. First bats that we have to talk about is Toronto. Going up against Akin. He's not a great major league pitcher. And he is going to get hit hard. And then after he leaves the game, you got that atrocious Baltimore bullpen behind him. So Toronto, clearly your top stack of the day. They're going to have the highest implied run total. They've gotten some pretty decent pricing discounts. Vlad Guerrero, he's just a stud. He's going to be your number 1 spot at first base. Salary wise, point per dollar, if you can't get up there, there is value to be found. But still, in terms of forget salary, forget all that. Guerrero clearly in the top spot tonight. Springer, 4.8K, just still way too cheap, far too cheap there. Teoscar Hernandez at 4.6, he's too cheap. Even Dickerson at 3K. I know, he hit farther down in the lineup yesterday, which is kind of a bummer. I liked him in that 5 spot. But at 3K, if he's hitting in that 5 spot again, sign me up. That is just a great value that you could be having. You pair him with Buxton, and even with these 2 top pitchers, you got over 4K remaining in your salary. So that's totally fine. After Toronto, Boston, they're going to be a popular play, or probably should be a popular play going up against Yarborough. Yarborough has really been struggling as of late. His form is seriously struggling, but still, Boston, we know what their offense can do. They do have some pricey bats here, but still, I like Boston going up against lefties just because the majority of their top hitters are right-handed bats. Xander and JD Martinez. I guess Kike's out still with COVID and everything. But still, I like their right-handed bats. So I always target Boston against the lefties. The other team that I do want to focus, just like a top-tier team that I think going tonight is going to be Minnesota, going up against Davies. One, because Davies not really a great pitcher. I'm going to be completely fading him. I think his salary is just far too high. So I do think that there's going to be a lot of offense in this game. I think the over-under is at like 9.5, and I don't have interest in either of the pitchers. So I do like both sides of this game. But Minnesota, I think, they're just way too cheap. They're going to be in a nice hitting spot. Kepler, Donaldson, Sano, Arias, they're too cheap. You can pretty much fit in whoever you want. If you want, like, Polanco's been hitting very, very well lately. Switch hitter, so you could throw him in. Buxton right there, Donaldson. There's like your 1, 2, 3, or maybe Kepler gets the lead up because he's got the lefty righty. So you throw Kepler in there, you can make a very nice Minnesota stack and still be close to 3, 8, 4K remaining for the rest of your bats. I think Minnesota is a fine play here. If you could let's just throw in Vlad and see what happens. 3.1K. So again, it's a little tougher after that. But still, Minnesota, I think Toronto and Minnesota are my favorite two. After them would probably be the White Sox. Going up against Wilson and Pittsburgh. White Sox, they've been hitting a lot better lately. So I do have much more interest in them. I know I was down on them a lot. Pricing, it's a little trickier, especially if you want to go with Toronto. But I mean, if you want to pivot off of Toronto and go to the White Sox, that would be great. You know, I think that's a nice GPP leverage spot. Just because Toronto is just they're gonna smash. They're gonna smash tonight. So yeah, so those are like the big four. You know, Toronto, Minnesota, Chicago White Sox, and Boston. Some GPP plays that you guys could turn towards. I think Philadelphia, this Philadelphia-Washington game, I think both sides of this game should see a lot of runs. You got two left-handed pitchers, two bad left-handed pitchers with Moore and Corbin. So really any of the righties from this game, I think you can absolutely smash in. I mentioned the Cubs earlier, just because, here we go. Cubs going up against Gant. They're going to be cheap. They're going to be, I don't think, really too highly owned. But like I said, their offense has come around. They got some decent hitting power here. So the Cubs could be a nice GPP spot. The Yankees, we know what the Yankees have been doing on offense. Going up against Berea, I think his ERA is close to 6. So you could go with Gallo. Rizzo at 3.8. He's got the lefty righty. It splits though. I guess right-handed pitching, actually not very good. He's one of the worst hitters against right-handed pitching on the Yankees. But he's continually chalk lefty righty, and he continually just doesn't do very well in the matchup. But still, you know, the rest of the Yankees, Stanton, Judge, you could throw them all in. LeMahieu at 3.9. That's great by me. I'm really bouncing around here. I do apologize for that. But you know, that kind of covers most of it. Top bats are going to be Toronto, Minnesota, Chicago White Sox, and Boston. GPP, you know, Philadelphia, Washington, Chicago Cubs, New York Yankees. Maybe some leverage spots, some teams that are great offenses going up against some possibly chalky pitchers, San Diego and Houston. So that kind of wraps things up. So as always, good luck in your contests tonight, and we will see you in the next video.